Hello, hello, hello. All right, we're joining you on a Tuesday this time. This is our first Tuesday live. I want to welcome you. Happy New Year, everyone. I think this will probably be our first live in the new year as well on some of our social media outlets. So, welcome into 2021. We have some great things planned for the entire month because it is National Mentoring Month. Part of what we want to do here at Shield Mentor Program is really think about youth mental health. We want to raise awareness and we want to work with our partners in the community while we do that. So I have with me today Erin Haynes, and she is a youth peer coordinator for Mental Health Greensboro. She is a native from Winston-Salem. She graduated in May 2020 from High Point University. Also graduated from High Point University, by the way. I won't say what year, but I did obtain my master's degree there for nonprofit management. So we are alums of High Point University together. She majored in psychology, so you have your BS degree in psychology. You enjoy emotional support, animals. You enjoy, I'm sorry, I can't read my notes here. You have a golden retriever. Tell me the name of your golden retriever.
Her name is Laura.
Awesome. Great. And you've experienced your own struggles with mental health, which brings you to work with us today by an unexpected death of one of your best friends. And you want to ensure that other youth who go through trauma are able to get the support and the mental wellness that they need. So I want to thank you for joining us today. I really want to appreciate you for the phone call that I received when you wanted to sort of hear a little bit more about what we have going on at Shield Mentor Program, which has led into the partnership that we will be talking about with all of our viewers tonight. It's called the Teens Gotta Talk program. All right, so I will turn it over to you, Erin, for you to share a little bit more about what you have going on and how we're going to partner together. And we'll just go through a presentation here. And in the end, I'll do my usual Q&A. So for those of you who are listening, don't be afraid to post your questions while you're listening to the presentation. Take it away, Erin.
Awesome. Well, I am super excited to be partnering with Shield and just kind of getting out there in the local community and building partnerships and relationships. As you mentioned, I have had my own experience with mental health. When I was 16, so I was a junior in high school, I unexpectedly lost my best friend. And through this process, I've kind of learned that mental health isn't a super large topic that's really talked about in schools or at home with families. So I wasn't sure of the resources that were available to me. Also, like, I wasn't sure what a full concept or general understanding of mental health was. So as I grew older and interest progressed, I really thought that it was important to partner with someone, which would end up being Mental Health Greensboro, and helping to create a program that kind of really taught teens what mental health is, what resources are available to them, how they can better themselves. And we're doing this through the local community. And so that's why we are partnering with Shield, which we're super excited about. But I will go ahead and start a presentation. Give me 1 second to share the screen. The entire screen. All right. Precious, can you see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So I'm just going to give you a little more info about Teens Gotta Talk. So just a little background of information about Mental Health Greensboro. We are a nonprofit that has served Guilford County for 80 years. We offer one-on-one peer support, different psychoeducational classes, wellness academy classes, and support groups. So previously, we've only offered services to adults, but we wanted to expand that to youth, and that's starting with Teens Gotta Talk. And our mission statement here at Mental Health Greensboro is to help improve the mental wellness of individuals, families, and communities through education, services, and collaboration. So once again, we are super excited to be collaborating with SHIELD. Let's see. So, what is Teens Gotta Talk? So, it is an outgrowth of recommendations regarding mental health youth programming. And this was done by students participating in a service learning leadership camp. It was jointly sponsored by the Volunteer Center in Guilford County Schools, and it was hosted by Mental Health Greensboro. So, students from 10th to 12th grade were tasked with identifying factors most commonly impacting teen mental health, emotional well being, and then how proposing a way to address these factors. So, they came up with the core concepts of Teens Gotta Talk. They thought that stress management, self esteem, and suicide prevention were big factors among them that they wanted to address. So, Teens Gotta Talk is kind of created by high schoolers, which I think is awesome. It is a 16-week program. The first 2 sessions are 5 weeks, and the third one is 6 weeks. So in the first one, we talk about stress management. In the second session, we talk about self-esteem. And in the third session, we talk about suicide prevention. Also, in the third session, we offer a suicide prevention gatekeeper training through QPR, which is called stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. And this is offered the last week of group, and it's completely no cost, no extra cost to whatever you guys are having for SHIELD, which is super exciting. So they can have some extra leadership skills on their resume. So what will sessions look like, or what are they consistent of? So they are discussion based. We will be discussing material and session packets and how this relates to them or how they can apply it to what they are learning in their life. It will be about an hour long and they'll happen during mentoring circles. And these educational packets contain worksheets, real life scenarios, different discussion questions that we'll all talk about in group, as well as educational articles and different activities. It's all based from reputable sources or evidence-based sources such as the American Psychological Association, Mayo Clinic, National Alliance on Mental Health, and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or it is backed by research. And this is really designed to help students look objectively and critically at their mental health and wellness skills. So we really want to put the ball in their court and give them the tools that they need to promote their own mental wellness. So this is just a schedule example from our session 2, which is self-esteem. So the first week we talk about kind of what is self-esteem. We establish a basis or a foundation of what it is. In week 2, we go into negative thoughts turned into positive thinking. Session 3, we talk about changing your perspective. So going from a growth mindset or a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, and how that can boost your self-esteem. In week 4, we talk about core worth and self-acceptance. And then in week 5, we talk about different communication styles and which one will be most beneficial in life, as well as how social media interacts with self-esteem. So these are just an example of what are in our packets for group. So the first one is a questionnaire. We do this at the beginning of each of the 3 topic sessions. And this really just establishes a baseline of what knowledge the students have of the topic. It also just starts a discussion and allows students to see others' perspective of the topic. So for this one, it'd be self-esteem. So kind of what they think self-esteem encompasses, what a positive self-esteem would look like versus negative self-esteem, and also just lets them hear others' viewpoints. And then the second picture we have is cognitive distortions. So would be in week 2 of session 2. Cognitive distortions are just a type of negative thinking. And with this activity, we go through what cognitive distortions are, all the different types, and then we talk about identifying what cognitive distortions that they may experience, and how they can flip that situation and turn it positive, and overcome it. So the goals of Teens Gotta Talk, is really just to help youth manage their mental health better. And we do this through coping skills, education, resources, and specifically some of the goals are to help them better manage their stress, improve eating and sleeping habits, help improve their decision making skills, as well as their communication skills, improve body image, and understanding suicide prevention and how they can help themselves and others with that. Also, we want to really just promote self confidence, resiliency, and self responsibility in youth, which will help them in the long term, and their next phases of life. We also, taking care of your mental health can help them focus on other aspects of their life, such as their education and physical health. So, addressing their mental health and having them have positive ways to take care of it will help them in other aspects of their life as well. And these are just some of the local mental health resources that we partner with. So if a teen is going through a mental health struggle, and needs to be referred, or, you know, see what services are out there for them, we can definitely put them in contact with those. And then for Mental Health Greensboro, we don't just teach recovery, we live it. And that's especially true for me, with what I have gone through and what I've learned through my journey, and what I want to make sure is available to youth that wasn't available to me, and just expanding their knowledge of mental health. But that is my little presentation, and we're just really excited to be partnering with Shields, on this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that information. We are super excited to be able to partner with Mental Health Greensboro. There's so much value that the Teens Gotta Talk program will bring to what we're doing already, but specifically to our high schoolers. I think high schoolers in particular, when it comes to mentoring, they need someone to talk to on a regular basis. There's so much going on in the minds of a high schooler. I think oftentimes we tend to forget to engage in thoughtful discussions with them. At times, we sort of go through our routine. And in particular, for our organization, since we have a curriculum, we have a set program that the students go through. But I feel like taking them aside and creating a mentoring circle specifically designed for the conversations that happen go a long way for the kids who participate in the Teens Gotta Talk program. When we talked before about this, we thought about putting them in small groups. So, can you talk a little bit about what you have seen in the past as far as the benefits to getting our youth in smaller groups and how that will help them along the way?
Yeah, definitely. So we do like to have a little bit smaller groups for Teens Gotta Talk. It really just helps build rapport between, me and the students, as well as just kind of creates a net of trust among them. And we kind of learned that when they're in smaller groups, they tend to share more experiences or feel more inclined to kind of speak up and participate in discussion questions. And really, it also just connects them with a couple core people that they can realize that, they go through similar experiences, they feel similar ways about different situations. So it really helps them to relate to one another. And that's best in a small group setting, because when you get in a larger group setting, kind of just participation decreases. So that's why we do like to keep them a little smaller.
Definitely, for sure. We definitely see that in our in person format when we have the large group of about 25 or 35 kids that, you don't always have the opportunity to speak up or speak out. So I really appreciate giving our youth that space to use their voice. That's essentially what we want our young people to be able to do. We want them to be able to express themselves, to express how they feel, express what their desires and wishes might be in life. And part of getting to that point is by having thoughtful conversations. What I really enjoy about this as well is that we will be able to partner with your agency, which is more therapeutic, with our agency, which is more focused on the mentoring side of the house. Mentoring is obviously focused mainly on the relationship building. So, exactly what you talked about, building closer connections, finding the people that you really relate to with similar interests or hobbies and things like that. But I felt that partnering with you right now during the pandemic, it's timely and it's much needed right now. So, what do you think young people might be facing during online learning, and how do you feel like having this format available to them might benefit them?
Definitely. COVID has kind of thrown a loop in everyone's world, especially just with isolation, kind of withdrawing from social gatherings, kind of diminishes, being able to withhold relationships. It's definitely put a challenge on things. They're so used to right now just getting onto a screen, learning, kind of being taught at rather than with, or participating maybe as heavily as they did in the classroom. So they don't really get that social interaction. What I really like about Teens Gotta Talk is it's just a place for them to get some interaction. Rather than just staring at a screen and trying to write things down, they're really just engaging in conversation. Sometimes it's hard to connect with people when you're not seeing them face to face. I know I don't talk to as many friends as I did before the pandemic started. So this is really a good place to kind of like start up those relationships again. Um, Also, just different mental health issues have become really more of a table topic during the pandemic. So depression and anxiety, it's harder to get motivated. You know, Going out, just a lot of nervousness with COVID, thinking about loved ones that might be affected or even yourself. Um, Definitely creates a lot of nervousness and anxiety. So we really, it's an open space to talk about what they're going through with that as well.
Awesome. I love it. And something that you mentioned during your presentation, I'm a huge advocate for building resiliency. I believe that, a lot of the youth who we serve, they do come from backgrounds where we're helping them deal with some of the trauma that they might have been facing in their lives every day at home. And I don't want to paint a picture like, all of our youth are just so devastated. They're actually exemplary kids. I love how resilient that our youth are. When I read on paper the struggle and what families are dealing with, I'm amazed at what our youth are capable of doing, how they're able to articulate themselves, and how they're able to overcome adversity, and how lots of times, you really don't see you don't see all that they've been through in the way that they interact. So I really enjoy watching that happen as a part of the engagement whenever we're mentoring, and I'm looking forward to being able to have the honest discussions as well and really dig a little bit deeper and get past some of the things that may be hindering blocks, or something that, well, I don't have the same outlet that I to have. So the way that I was able to overcome and be resilient in the normal world, I call it, or the world before the pandemic, I don't have those outlets. Some of our kids, they're not able to play sports in the same manner that they could play sports. They're not able to go to the music lessons the way that they were able to do that. So some youth don't have the same support system or outlets that they would normally have. So what do you think about just forming the resiliency? Why is this something beneficial, or something that we should take our time for the mentoring circles? We're going to meet on a Tuesday evening or Thursday evening every week for 12 weeks straight with our mentoring staff there. But your program goes even longer. It's going to allow an extended program and experience for the high schoolers to do this for 16 weeks. So, what does that do for a child to be able to go through the program and build resiliency?
So we something we really focus on in Teens Gotta Talk is just different coping skills that they can create and use themselves. A lot of programs in the community focus on really giving adults the tools on how to intervene when a child or a youth is struggling with mental health. And so something we do really differently is we want to put that ball in their court. We want to help them build strength and resiliency to whatever situations they are having. Just being able to do that yourself is very different. And I do give youth props so much because they are super resilient. They bounce back from situations so well. And they really just create a path for themselves. And it's amazing. But giving them these extra resources along with coping skills and just really educating them about mental health helps them take their resiliency up a notch.
I agree. I love that resilient kids are positive, they're optimistic, they're able to see their way out of what for some people feels like an impossible situation. They're able to look at things with an eye for what's possible and able to dream and think about their futures in a healthy way. So I really love that there will be space for us to be able to offer that to our youth. So, what I want to do here is I want to take a brief commercial break. I'm super excited because we launched our Shield Online community commercial today across our social media. So it would be horrible if I did not expose those of you who are subject to watching this for a minute to do that right now in the middle of our presentation. So let's just take a brief commercial break. And I want to come back and talk a little bit about our Shield Online community with the folks who are listening in.
You've invested tons of time into your child, but you don't have to do it alone. Does your 4th through 12th grade child need an outlet to focus on how to reach their highest potential in school, in life, and beyond? Here at the Shield Mentor Program, our college and professional mentors are waiting to serve you through our Shield Online community, a place for parents and youth with the same interests to connect in a fun and safe virtual environment. From helpful parenting information to social and emotional support for your child and everything in between, join us to connect with others who live near and far in a much needed space to get the help your child needs for their future success through our mentorship and leadership programs. It's never been easier for you to connect your child with the resources they need. Join us today at www.shieldmentor.org to connect with like-minded parents looking to see their child succeed.
That gave me a piece of energy. So one thing about the pandemic, we were disrupted about midway through our program. So we were exactly 6 weeks into our in-person program on UNCG's campus, and we were rocking and rolling. The pandemic hit, and we had to stop because, for first of all, our college students had to go home. The school was shut down. We didn't have access to the facility anymore. So we needed to think about how we were going to pivot. And we did like many agencies. I don't know what you all did, but I'd like to hear how have you been pivoting? Did you do the Zoom thing? How did it go? And then I want to look into what we have moving forward in February 2021 through this partnership, what we can do together. So how did it go, Erin?
So I came on board at Mental Health Greensboro mid-pandemic, so that was super fun and definitely a challenge. But when I came on and was helping to design Teens Gotta Talk, we knew from the start that it would have to be virtual right now, just to keep everyone safe. So I started it with a design specifically for an online version, which I think is awesome. So right from the get-go, we started, intentionally doing this on platforms such as Zoom or Google Hangouts. But for mental health Greensboro as a whole, we did shut down for a little while, and then we kind of reassessed how we could reopen safely and still offer our services to the community. So we cut our class sizes. I think we do 7 in a class right now. So we're doing in person, but we're also offering Zoom classes as well, which I think is awesome. So we have a handful of our psychoeducational classes on Zoom. We do support groups on Zoom as well. So we really kind of embraced the change, which I love. And I have constantly just been evolving as our situation changes.
That's really important to involve. So that's a great point to bring up. And we've done the same. We've had to evolve. In the beginning, we went with Zoom like everyone else, and we faced Zoom fatigue as well. Our youth, they were coming at first, but noticed that the attendance started to decline. So around the summer months, we started to think about how could we really offer our programs where youth would enjoy coming, where they felt like this is a place where I want to be. And we noticed a few things that they did like was playing the games, especially if we use Kahoots. I know you've heard of Kahoot. And so our volunteers decided to dig all the way in and go into a planning phase. So like you all, we sort of put a pause on things as well at that point, and we decided to redesign our in-person program so we could do it online, because I anticipated that we would not have the opportunity to meet in person around this time. And if the numbers keep creeping up, it just might not be a safe option for large groups of youth. And we want to serve 45 youth. So we know that we can't have them in one space, and trying to get smaller spaces, that would be a bit much logistically to put together. So I'm super excited. We had students from UNCG help us through the Gold Leadership Program, the HDFS program, and teaching fellows. And we have built this curriculum. We're getting ready to soft with our team so that we can see what it looks like in our online environment, give it a test run and roll it out in February. So what's super awesome about this is that we're able to design a community not only for youth, but for parents as well, and get parents involved and engaged just as much as our youth, because we know that parents, they're mentors whether they want to be or not. They're the first line of communication at home. These days, they're playing every role at home, you have to even be your child's friend now. So parenting has changed a lot from the days when my parents raised me, when it was very clear that your parent was never going to be your friend. So not in a bad way, but that was the belief that my parents raised us, to respect that as a parent, you have a certain role to play. And so now with my daughter, I find myself in these situations. I'm playing Spy Day. I'm playing with baby dolls. We're role playing. She has me pulled into all kinds of imaginative things. I'm doing art with her, all of the things. And then with my son, he's sort of a hermit, and he sits on his computer. He became a teenager in the middle of the pandemic. He went from 12 to 13, shot up taller than me. And so we're trying to figure that out too. But all of this to say that the world has really changed, and we need to be able to find out how to engage our youth in an online environment, because that allows them an outlet and a place to express who they are, to fully express who they are. So I'm super excited with the Shield online community, what we can do and how we can launch it, not only with mentoring services, but with mental health services as well, as we're working with you. So you mentioned that we'll do the mentoring service, and I want to talk about that a little bit so our parents really understand what this format is going to be. We're able to create mentoring circles based on common interests and common hobbies, or anything pretty much that we would like to do as a group. So for instance, this teen's got a top circle will be an option that a high schooler may say, oh yeah, I like that circle, I want to be a part of that, and I'll meet on Tuesday at 6 o'clock for that because that's a place where I want to be. We may have a circle based on a book club because that's what the kids love to do and they decided that's where they want to be. And we'll have mentors helping facilitate that for our youth to be in smaller groups. So we won't have more than 9 youth in that group, and then we'll match them with 4 mentors. We do a group mentoring model, so we have a 4-to-9 ratio. But for the Teens Gotta Talk program, we're able to bring in Erin and her team as well to really give the youth even more support there. So, Erin, you did talk through your presentation a little bit about how we'll spend the time during the mentoring circles. But for anyone who joined a little later, can you tell us a little bit more, like a typical mentoring circle meeting, which might be an hour? What does that look like?
So we open up always with what we call a wellness number, and it's just a weekly check-in. I personally love it. It's a scale of 0 to 10. It's kind of to find out where everyone's headspace is at the moment, and how ready for discussion they are. And then we open up with a discussion question for what we're talking about that week. So it could be, what does self-esteem look like to you? It could be what does, where are you the most confident? How do you manage your stress? What coping skills do you already have? And then we just really talk through group. We'll go over different educational articles, pulling out main points, what they find relevant in their life. We go through different life situations, so how they can apply some of these coping skills to their own lives, as well as just expanding their education for things like stress, self-esteem, cognitive distortion, anxiety, depression. So we just really talk through that. Occasionally we'll have different activities in group, such as like a Zen garden or a positive affirmation water bottle. So just different things like that, but it's really heavily discussion based, and then taking what we're learning and applying it to their own lives. And then we just kind of, wrap it up and talk through it. So it's really about seeing everyone's different perspectives, how they can learn from each other, and what they can do for themselves with all of this information that they're learning about.
Awesome, great. I love it all, and I think it will bring a great addition to what we're doing. And just to give you all a picture of a normal mentoring circle for what some of the other groups will do, we have something called the Shield Portfolio, and there are critical life questions, is what I call them, that match our curriculum. So, for instance, our first topic is about who am I? So during the who am I session, we may want our youth to identify 3 people in their closest circle that matter to them, but then we may want them to tell us why. So we're able to do round robin discussions at that time and really hear from our youth and what they have to say, but also pour into their lives so that they hear from college students and professionals, because we're going to cover topics such as career and educational goals as well. And we like to think about early exposure as well. So we're going to talk about all of these topics, no matter what age or stage that a child might be in life. We're going to talk about it even in 4th grade, because there's certain things academically that a 4th grader might want to gravitate toward, depending on what they tell us that they want to do. So we're super excited about what we're going to be doing. And I want to thank you again, Erin, for joining us today to tell us a little bit more about the Teens Gotta Talk program, how we'll be working with Mental Health Greensboro. Thank you for joining us to celebrate National Mentoring Month. We're going to bring on this talk every Tuesday this month. Next week, we will have Alec Harris join us from CareLink. So I'm really, or sorry, yes, CareLink Solutions. So I'm really excited about what we'll be doing. He's going to talk a little bit more about how we can bring in licensed therapists for what we have going on throughout our program year as well. So thanks again, Erin. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we sign off today?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm just super excited to start a group with you all, and just kind of strengthen community ties.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, it's really nice to know that we both attended High Point University. I honestly didn't realize that until you shared your bio with me. So that's pretty cool. I'm a Panther twice, is what I say, because I went to Dudley High School, which is Panthers, and then to High Point University. All right. So thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again next week.
You've invested tons of time into your child, but you don't have to do it alone. Does your 4th through 12th grade child need an outlet to focus on how to reach their highest potential in school, in life, and beyond? Here at the Shield Mentor Program, our college and professional mentors are waiting to serve you through our Shield online community, a place for parents and youth with the same interests to connect in a fun and safe virtual environment. From helpful parenting information to social and emotional support for your child and everything in between, join us to connect with others who live near and far in a much-needed space to get the help your child needs for their future success through our mentorship and leadership programs. It's never been easier for you to connect your child with the resources they need. Join us today at www.shieldmentor.org to connect with like-minded parents looking to see their child succeed.